We opened about 2.5 years ago, actually getting pretty close to 3 years now in February. And we're undergoing construction right now to expand. We've had a waiting list for private office space for about 2 years, and finally decided to break through some walls. Sorry, Maggie, we got rid of her office to put in a hallway. We promised to give her a new space. But before the end of 2018, we'll be adding 19 new office spaces, 2 new conference rooms, and some really cool creative and collaboration spaces in addition to what we already have going on. So if any of you have not been to Irontek before, there's a lot of events taking place this week as part of Startup Beloit Week, so please stop by. I have seen a lot of familiar names as we've seen the RSVPs coming in for all the events this week, so I know a lot of you are planning to attend some of the things that we have going on. This is just event number 4 of 11 that we have planned in 6 days. 3 of those 4 have taken place today, so I will be helping myself to make a couple glasses of wine probably after this. Where's the clicker? I set it down. So this is the first time that we've done this event. As you all know, this is part of Startup Beloit Week. It's the second time that we've hosted Startup Beloit Week, or Startup Wisconsin Week in Beloit. It's part of a larger statewide initiative to connect, educate, and celebrate entrepreneurs, startup companies across the state of Wisconsin. So right now, tonight, and for the rest of this week, as you guys are attending these events, there's going to be people all over the state who are doing the same thing and attending these events as well. We have pitch events. The big one coming up on Thursday night, got to plug live beta, so definitely if you haven't seen Irontek, come out on Thursday night and hear from 5 of the most recent G-Beta companies. Showcases, which is what you guys are attending tonight. We had a workshop, a marketing workshop on Monday morning, yesterday morning, seems like forever ago, and a lot of other cool stuff happening for the rest of the week. So check out startupwi.org for the rest of our calendar, events for the rest of the week. Tag us if you guys are on Twitter or Facebook. Our handle's Irontek_Beloit. And then the hashtag for the week all across the state of Wisconsin, they are tracking this like crazy, so use it if you take any pictures or tweet. Hashtag StartupWI. So this event tonight, like I said, it's the first time that we've done this event. And we have the big pitch event that we do twice a year as part of the G-Beta Accelerator program that we run out of the Irontek space. But we wanted to do something a little different with this showcase. So instead of treating it like a pitch event, we invited 6 of our entrepreneurs who use the Irontek space on a regular basis to storytell basically tonight. So they're each going to spend 5 to 7 minutes telling you about their entrepreneurial journey, and then they're going to leave a few minutes at the end of the presentation to answer a couple of questions. We're going to do rapid fire, so all 6 entrepreneurs are going to pitch in a row, and then I will get back up here and field questions for the group. And then I heard a lot of great conversations happening, so we definitely want to leave a few minutes at the end of the event for you guys to network a little bit more and enjoy some of the delicious food that Velvet Buffalo has provided for us tonight. So the 6 companies that you'll be hearing from are Nonprofit Thrive, Shirt Consulting, Fresh Horizons Coffee Company, Shoe Theory, Field and Farm Co., and Talk Tour. And when we hand selected these 6 companies, we wanted to make sure that you were hearing from a variety of businesses that we work with at Irontek. There's some really cool stuff happening in Beloit and the surrounding communities, and we wanted to highlight as many of those as possible tonight. And also want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Hotel Goodwin, of course, for hosting us here tonight, Velvet Buffalo for providing the food and the drink, Brian Thomas Photography. Brian's standing over here. He'll be flashing the lights as everybody's speaking tonight. And then Hendricks Commercial Properties, of course, for helping to sponsor Beloit Startup Week. So with that, I will hand the mic over to Nicole Sadal, who is the founder of Nonprofit Thrive, and she'll get things rolling. Thanks.
All right, open your mouth, let your spirit out, let's get this party started. As Aaron mentioned, I'm Nicole Sadal with Nonprofit Thrive. It's a volunteer engagement platform. And it's really cool that we get to have more of the storytelling piece tonight. So, as you can see by the letters after my name, I'm actually a chiropractor by degree, so this is one of those, and you're a tech founder now kind of situations. So clearly, God does not read resumes, but that's because I've discovered throughout this process it's because He writes them. Everything I've gone through has led me to this point, and sorry about that. So I actually, even becoming a chiropractor, kind of took a crooked road. I grew up in a small town just south of Eau Claire called Osseo. Did my undergraduate at Madison, graduated with a degree in bacteriology, was doing oncology research and realized the rats were not keeping up their end of the conversation and did not laugh at my jokes like you guys did. So I started looking into other opportunities. I had a really good experience with chiropractic when I was younger, so I went to National College of Chiropractic just outside of Chicago, and that's where I met my now husband. We ended up buying practice together in Freeport, Illinois, and him being from Canada, me being from Wisconsin, we didn't know a soul there. So we jumped into everything we could with volunteering, and it got us connected to our community, got us involved, loved every minute of it, started our family, wanted to make sure our 3 kids, understood the value of volunteering, and then it got even more real as far as the volunteer hours gotten really important in our society. It can make you right with the law through community service. More and more corporations are giving paid time off, actually touting that as part of the benefits package for their employees to come and work for them. It could be the difference between getting in a university of your choice or being on a waiting list, and yet there's no verification that it actually happens. So our platform brings the verification process to make it real, so that there is no more self-reporting, there's no possibility of somebody taking advantage of the situation and lying about it, or forgetting to even turn in those hours. So that's what we're trying to accomplish, and doing that right here in our state line is to kind of put a mark on proving what it means to volunteer. Through the process, they've asked us to talk about kind of who we've met and all of that. NNU Iger Lab was key. I'd like to say that I put the universe on notice about 5 years ago when I spoke the words out loud and said, I think I want to do something to help nonprofits. And that's all I said. Like, that's how this whole thing started. So I was a company called fundraisingcommittee.net back then. I pitched at the fast pitch competition there, made it to the finals, and was blessed to be the recipient of their inaugural Dale Faulkner Spirit of Entrepreneurship Award. So that gave me the courage to keep on going, and then I got blessed last year with a phone call from this guy named Phil with this thing called Beta. What an amazing experience that is, and continues to be, because then that opened up the door to Generator and the connections that they have, which then helped introduce me to GAN, another accelerator. Got to go out to Denver last month, actually a month ago, to be a part of a really unique thing called RevCon there. So again, just an amazing opportunity. So you gotta pause and go, man, what's next? Because the iterations and the changes have been fast and furious, and yet it's been 5 years, so maybe not, I don't know, anytime you hit me, it depends on what I feel like on that situation. So I have to be really honest with you guys right now. I've been hiding something from you all night. We are rebranding, baby. We will now be called Let's Thrive 360, because it encompasses more what we do, hitting all aspects of the volunteer process for all aspects of the volunteer way. So the volunteers, the nonprofits, the companies, everybody involved. We've got a new platform that we're going to be rolling out in January 1st, and I need to mimic my daughter for a little bit. We are so excited! That's also why I will never be, asked asked to take any political office because I show too much emotion on the stage. So I invite you, please ask questions. We truly have changed things up, have made it way easier for the nonprofits to verify those hours with this next iteration. Super excited about that. And yeah, looking forward to what comes ahead. You good? All right. Thank you, guys.
It occurred to me that not everybody might want to use the mic, so I will leave it up to each of your discretion as to whether or not you want to use that or not.
I forgot to bring my last slide.
Nicole has one more slide. Let me find it.
Yeah.
All right. So my name is Tracy Shirk, and I started a company in March called Shirk Consulting. I am born and raised here in Beloit, so I have definitely been here seeing how Beloit has rejuvenated itself over time. I remember back in high school how walking downtown was not something that you necessarily wanted to do. So again, born and raised here in Beloit, but something, growing up is I saw at a very young age the importance of work. I also saw at a very young age the importance of finding fulfillment in the work that you do. And so what Shirk Consulting is we are an HR consulting firm. And why HR consulting firm? When I decided to go into HR, it was almost by chance versus by choice. So my mom had been in HR. Growing up in such an entrepreneurial community, I saw how important it was to bring the right people in at the right time and ensure that they were put in positions that allowed them to be successful. And as we all know, without amazing people around us, we can't be open for business, right? And so in all of the different organizations that I had worked in, I saw a theme, and that was that the culture that we create as leaders inside organizations is incredibly important for how individuals behave. Because we as leaders are responsible to create that. And we create that through the culture, we create that through our policies. I know so often we do not want to create those policies because, oh my gosh, it feels like another slap on the hand, right? But at the same time, if we don't set those expectations for our employees and ourselves and allow ourselves to have a lot of fun along the way, we're gonna hate life. And when we hate life, we hate work. And when we hate work, guess what? We suck at it, right? So what we do as an organization is like that spark. And starting this organization for me has started that spark for me again and for the organizations that I'm working with. So kind of a little bit of the background, the journey. You all know I'm from Beloit. Very, very proud of that. Graduate of Beloit Memorial. Very proud of that as well. And I actually went to school to become a physical therapist. What? And then from there, again, fell into human resources and really spent my whole career working with individuals. But I did HR a little bit differently because when you think of HR, what do you think of? Okay, this is audience participation time.
Performance reviews.
Performance reviews, what else?
Management.
Management, what else?
Hiring and firing.
Hiring and firing, what else? Payroll, what else?
Benefits.
Do you guys see how HR can sometimes be the drag? Yeah, absolutely. And so, what we were looking to do is rebrand HR inside those organizations, but really help those business owners, especially small business owners. And that's who our ideal client is those employers with 50 or less employees, because guess what? They do not need to have a full-time HR person on staff. But you know what? They are still 100% responsible for knowing what those laws are. And so that's a little bit of what we do. And Erin asked me the other day, Erin goes, well, tell us about how you started your company. And I go, well, which version do you want? She's like, the real version? And so we kind of laughed at that, and I said, I hated the job that I was in, but I loved HR. And I love helping individuals create that culture and ensure that it's compliant. And that's exactly what we're doing. And it's lighting that spark. So, you know, when I started to create my company, it was creating that structure, but it's also creating that structure that we do with those small business owners, because we believe that everyone has a right and a choice. That's key to be fulfilled in the work they do. That includes the business owners, and that includes every employee inside your organization, but you can't do that without a structure. And I also couldn't build my business without a structure either. And it was really working with some amazing mentors. We heard this morning at the Big Cheese event, which everybody said, let's not call it that, because, you know, we're all about helping individuals, and that's what we're here for. And I think that that is, you know, something, a sign of an amazing leader. So when we create that structure, we're essentially putting ourselves on notice that these are the promises that we're making to every single employee, and every employee is making those promises to us, and that's how we build that culture and that structure. And so, as you build a business, sometimes it starts with, I have no idea where I'm going, right? And as business owners, for our employees, sometimes our employees don't feel like they know where they're going either. Or, I feel like I'm going to go to San Diego today, and my employees feel like they're going to Florida. Do you think we're going to get the projects done? Yeah, probably not. So when we work with organizations, we're really working to make sure that we're getting everyone to that right location, and that sometimes when you look at it from a street view, it's really difficult to see, hey, where exactly are we going? And at the beginning of my business, it was the same way. What I'm doing right now, I'm launching a membership site tomorrow for small business owners that allows them to get that HR structure that they need at a price point that they can afford. That isn't anything that I thought I was going to start back in March, right? I had this vision that said, my intention is to be a support system and a partner to small business owners in the human resources arena. And so sometimes it's getting up at that higher level, and sometimes our employees need to see that too. Where exactly are we going? What does that map look like? So when we get back down to the street view, we know exactly what we're going to get there. So what am I responsible for? Do you know what my favorite calls are? The calls that I get that say, hey Tracy, so-and-so I think has vodka in their water bottle. What do I do? Now, we've got lots of business owners in the room. You've had those conversations, right? Maybe not back in the water bottle, but there's been many others, right? And so, you know, it's those conversations that say, okay, so now what do we do with this? And so you look at all the laws that are up there. On the left, that's for every single employer with one employee. On the right, those are the laws you're responsible for as you grow. Does anyone want to run out of the room yet and say, I don't want to play with that? Exactly. And so that's what we help solve, because this, to me, is fun. And my goal for you is to play with that Rubik's Cube so that you can serve and do what you do best. Because when you're doing what you do best as a business owner, guess what? You're fulfilled in that work you do. And you're meeting the needs that your clients have. And so the results is, you know, we really look at your organizational goals, your strategy and practices to meet those legal obligations. And passion led me to where I'm at right now. Passion leads me every day to what is it that I need to do to best serve my clients, but also, you know, serving the community that we're in. So, any questions, or are we good, Erin? We'll just continue that one. Okay.
Well, good evening. My name is Robert Ewald. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Fresh Horizons Coffee Company. Fresh Horizons is a fundraising company that utilizes fresh roasted coffee to help organizations develop a recurring revenue stream and be able to fulfill their fundraising goals in a unique and sustainable way. That's always fun. So, I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. 20 years ago, my wife Jackie and I started a company called Ewald Services. Ewald Services is a lawn maintenance company that focuses on the mid to upper end residential market in the greater Rockford community. As that company's grown, we've always had ideas for starting other businesses. And about 4 years ago, when we found out we were pregnant, at that point I was 400 pounds, nearly twice the person I am today. So I told her, you know, you got a 2-for-1 special. It's over now. See, Nicole, I've got jokes. But at that point, in all seriousness, I was diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic. I had high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and was given a 7 in 10 chance of having a heart attack at any time. Great way to start a family, right? And I knew that something had to change because I wanted to be a dad, but not just by title, but by being able to be there for all of life's special moments. So as I was going through that journey and trying to figure out, hey, how do I get healthy? I came across a diet called keto diet. Anybody here ever heard of it? Yeah, a couple people. Back then, nobody had. But, you know, I told people, hey, I'm going to start eating fat and butter, and they're like, you're going to die. I'm like, well, I'm going to die anyway. Did you hear what the doctor said? And so as I'm going through and I'm learning about this, I came across a thing called buttered coffee, and I just fell in love because it took my enjoyment of coffee to a whole nother level. And having been an entrepreneur my entire life and wanting to start different things and kind of being at that point where it's like, hey, how do we transition? Because I don't want to be known as the long guy for the rest of my life. I want to be able to create a company that my son can take over and that we can build a legacy with. And so the coffee really started to become a really important part in our life. And I realized, hey, this is another opportunity. This is where we can go next. And coffee is a $48 billion industry here in the U.S. I'm like, well, that's a lot bigger than lawn care, so I think we have an opportunity. And so Fresh Horizons was born. And Fresh Horizons' whole thing was founded around being able to develop something where we can give back and build a legacy business. So it's a fundraising company at its core. And we use fresh roasted coffee as that tool to get in and be able to help these organizations. Because one thing, there's two things that we found when we were doing our market research that almost every organization shares in common, whether it's a kid's sports team, a nonprofit, a church, a school, is that they have more people than they can serve, or that there's more people out there that they want to be able to serve, and they need to develop a sustainable source of revenue, because funding's always disappearing right now. So we said, hey, we can marry coffee with this because it's something that's purchased on a regular basis and develop this into a really awesome fundraising platform. So our tagline is coffee lovers helping others. It's not just a tagline, it's who we are. And so what we've done is over the last year, we started off buying coffee through a major importer and did well. It was great coffee. And said, but there's something missing. We need to do something more. And so we started to come across farmers where we could buy direct. And it got really cool. Because we were able to start to work with farmers where they're making a difference in their community. We're not buying in a sense through a slave trade anymore. We're buying from people that value their workers and value their workers' families. So when we buy from a farm out of Honduras, we know that guy down there is doing everything in his power to make the lives of his workers better. You know, in the Honduras example, he's down there and he's teaching capitalism and entrepreneurialism to his workers so that they can help to elevate themselves out of those cycles of poverty and violence. And we've got another company coming on board here in a couple of weeks that's helping to get women and children out of the violence and the poverty in Congo. So it's amazing what we're able to start to do on that level. But we wanted to bring it back to a local level. I said I wanted to do something locally and to be able to do something that would impact people around the world. So on a local level, we reach out to organizations, whether it be a kid's sports team, a nonprofit, a church, and say, hey, here's a fundraising program that can develop a sustainable, recurring revenue stream that you can use. And so because those organizations have so many times have had funding cut or have had people come to them in need that they haven't been able to serve, we said that we can build a model that's not common out there, that's not easily created, build a model and be able to serve that. So the solution was that fundraising platform. And our fundraising platform is unique in that, like I mentioned, it develops a recurring revenue. So who here buys coffee on a regular basis? Who here would like to buy coffee that can support an organization on a regular basis? Exactly. I've got 2 people that raise their hands. I love it. They're my partners. They're all in. Just kidding. But exactly, that's what we're doing. We're not asking people to come out and buy stuff that they don't need or don't want, but they feel obligated because they're the little boy or little girl's at the front door. This is something that you buy on a regular basis anyway, and you just redirect that money towards an organization that you want to support. So it's a game changer. And then it develops that recurring revenue, so they don't have to go out and fundraise every single time. I mean, there's organizations that have been with us since the beginning that maybe they just get a small check every month, but they get a check and they did one promotion. They got a check every month. I mean, if you're in an organization, I mean, that's a game changer. You know, imagine if you spool it up, how many more people can you touch? And that's what we're talking about. So thank you for letting us share the story of Coffee Lovers helping others with you guys. If you have questions, I'll be around. I'll make up stories. It's fun. But thank you.
All right. Well, hello everyone. My name is Graham Stamen, and I'm honored to be speaking up here with some of these great entrepreneurs, and I'm really excited to share my story. I think it'll give an interesting perspective on kind of a rising entrepreneur. So my story starts off like a lot, so similar to other entrepreneurs, and starting off my baby steps into entrepreneurship when I was real young. I was like a young hustler, like gangster entrepreneurship on the bus, flipping sneakers, Pokemon cards, you know, doing mowing lawns, shoveling driveways, going door to door, the whole 9 yards. One time I came home to my parents in 6th grade and said, "Mom, Dad, I'm starting a Jolly Rancher business." And I pursued to buy a whole bag of Jolly Ranchers, put 10 Jolly Ranchers in a bag, sold each bag for $1 at school. Didn't tell the administration though. And so I kind of did this all the way up until high school, and I kind of found this to be my personal calling. My family has a lot of intellectual people who have their kind of thing, and so I was kind of wondering like what was my thing, and I kind of figured out that business was that, and I kind of started looking towards these big entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, studying them and studying their tactics and becoming motivated. And then I figured out what entrepreneurship really was, and learned how hard it was, but that did not sway me from my decision to pursue business. And so all throughout my freshman and sophomore year, I studied business 101, international business, financial accounting, how to start a business, all these things which really helped me into my first business venture in the 180 Incubator program, which is led by the wonderful Jason Brunke back there. And so me and 4 of my teammates essentially started this shoe company that was a shoe for track athletes, where you could slide off the sole of the shoe to have different types of tread for indoor and outdoor meets and things of that nature. And we worked a year to really boost this business up, and we had 3D models, we had meetings with all these like patent lawyers and engineers, and it was this whole big process. And at the end of the year, the production company we were working with said it would take $100,000 to $400,000 to get us to market. For high schoolers, that's just like a no-go, like immediately. So I went home, I was completely bummed. I was like, oh my gosh. It was like the summer. I said, "Mom, Dad, starting another business." And so that's when Blue Buy came about, and I was like, I'm gonna sell things online, I'm gonna sell accessories online, it's gonna be huge. And they said, no, you're getting a job. And I was like, I don't know, I like really want to start this business. And they said, okay, well here's the deal. If you can start a business and show us proof of that business, then we will allow you to do that and you don't have to get a job. And so I bought all this inventory and I tried to start selling things, and it was just a terrible idea. The business plan went terribly. And so all of a sudden I was like, crap, I have to get a job now. And so I got a job with a catering company and started working 30 to 35 hours a weekend while going to school and trying to start a business. But so I had this business and all this inventory, and the inventory I hustled to my friends at school later. But I later had to figure out what I was going to do about this DBA that I got in this whole business that I started. So I ended up pivoting it, and I took out a bunch of Google Forms and I started surveying people, and I said, okay, what kind of struggles and what kind of problems do they have? Let's get back to ground zero. And people commonly said, well, I keep forgetting about events I need to get products for, or I have struggle shopping online, so I made a whole entire business surrounding helping people shopping online. And so I had a personalized shopping business, and people would go online, fill out a profile, and I would suggest products to them, things of that nature. But as I was going through towards my senior year, I realized that this business was not going the way that I planned. It was still going pretty well, but it wasn't growing hugely like I had previously thought. And I was not like your average student. I would like walk into class, and these are true stories. I'd be like, Miss V, I can't today. I'm trading stocks at like $3 a share. I can't just postpone class or something. And you can ask her that. And while other students were arguing with their parents about what parties they could go to, I was arguing with my parents if I could use their social security number to trade stocks. So I was not your average student by any means. And I would like walk into class and be like, who wants some sunglasses? And like try and hustle. And I was starting to look at like, should I go to college, or like what should I do? And as I started looking, I found this great company called Praxis. And Praxis is a year-long program where you do 6 months of project-based learning and value creation, and then you do another 6 months where you work at a startup. And then like 98% of the time you get a job at that startup. And so I found this, and it's basically a college alternative business program. So it wasn't the best idea to pitch my parents that I didn't want to go to college. My mom has a master's degree and was one of Rockford's 20 people you should know. My dad has a degree in his own business. My brother is going to have a master's degree and is like this elite diver. And my sister is going to have her master's, and she climbs mountains for fun on the weekends. So like saying, I'm not going to get a degree is like not the most ambitious thing to like say at the time. So, but I found Praxis, and it's been so valuable to me. And in this time frame that I've been in this entrepreneurial program, I've learned a ton about business and entrepreneurship, and I've actually grown my personal brand and my personal website to have a little over 70,000 hits is what I've hit on Google, and I've had thousands of readers on my blog. And so through this, I was able to also start my next venture, which is the big company that I just released and just started, called Shoe Theory. And this originally started with just a sketch of a shoe, because I initially had started my other kind of shoe venture, and that had kind of not gone well. And so I took this sketch and I said, all right, what can I do with this? Like, how far can I go with this until I hit a wall? And so I put it in Adobe Illustrator, and I mocked up a whole design, and I was like, what do I do next? And so I figured out that apparently you have to make this thing called a tech pack that you have to send to manufacturers. And you have to get all the specs. And so I started working with this guy in Bangladesh for the specs, and that actually went super well. That was my first foreign commerce kind of experience. And then I was like, I'm not really sure what to do from there. And then I realized that you have to get an agreement with the manufacturer. So I reached out to a bunch of different manufacturers and made an agreement with a manufacturer a little outside of Singapore, and his name is George, the guy who runs it, which, I mean, I stereotypically did not think Singapore names would be George, but that's just me. And he's been a great kind of comrade in figuring this out and helping me start this business. So it's been really interesting. And through all of this and through this whole process, I've been able to start pre-orders, start manufacturing, and I'm actually proud tonight that I'm wearing the first model of the Shoe Theory ones, which is something that we just started for pre-orders. And here's, if you can't see, here are some other pictures of the first manufactured model, and they're going for roughly $60 a pair right now. And we're also doing a really cool initiative for this whole 24-hour period. If you buy a pair, essentially we'll give a pair to someone who doesn't have as good a quality of shoes. So it's been an incredible journey, and through this, I see two roads kind of leading out of this. And I'm going all in on shoes, but kind of my love for the shoe industry. But I've had both failure and success, and I think that they both have great rewards. And that's why they both go on and they both keep going. And one of my favorite quotes by Winston Churchill is that success is really just stumbling from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. And that's what I think I've tried to do, and that's what I'd encourage everyone else to do. So thank you.
Thanks so much for having us. It's my lovely wife, Megan. And we have 2 kids, a third on the way, Emma and Paige. So we're really happy that this isn't a pitch. We're storytellers. And I'm not a pitch guy. I'm like the worst pitch guy ever. It's kind of fitting for ag. How do you pitch ag? Not big ag, but like small scale organic farming. It's a long play. It's not a quick pitch. So our journey starts about 5 years ago. We were on holiday in Paris, of all places, and every morning we had a really nice opportunity, and we would go and sit in just a little cafe and have coffee every morning. And we kind of started talking. We both are in tech, have been in tech for a long time, and we're thinking about what we want our everyday to be like. It was so nice being on holiday and just having this really peaceful and quiet time, and really resonated with us. And the deeper we dove into that, we really felt that we didn't resonate with the narrative of our day-to-day life. And so we really started exploring, what do we love to do, what do we want from our everyday life, how do we want to raise our kids, and love being outside, love hiking. We've always wanted land, and I was exposed to ag as a kid, through dairy farms, visiting, and we kind of, each day the conversation progressed. It progressed to the spot of like, man, there's this opportunity, there's this thing called community supported agriculture. So we just started research, really starting to understand that, and came to the conclusion of, man, let's start looking for land. Let's start, and over the course of 7 months, really search everywhere from Michigan to Iowa, and landed in Beloit. And we've been here 3 years. We're super happy. I think we came in at a really special time when I never knew what Beloit was, but coming in where it's really exciting. There's a lot of great things happening, and we're really grateful to be a part of this community, be a part of Irontek. And we have our little 10-acre plot. So we both had really good understanding of confidence in our business. I'm in business development, wife's in product. We knew that at the end of the day we could run a business, but how do we tell that story and get the message out there? So we have 10 acres. We do farm to table boxes. We farm to table boxes, which has grown into other opportunities. I'll let Megan.
Sure. So, yeah, we started our first year and just did sort of a trial run with friends and family, people that wouldn't be angry when we figure out we don't know how to plant and harvest vegetables. So that was our first year, and then this year we've grown from the 6 test run memberships to now 36 memberships this year. So that was quite a growth curve for us. But as you see, we offer basically a produce or a meat option. We ended up expanding into meat as we sort of started talking with our customers and better understanding what they're really looking for. And as I'm sure many of you know, people are very interested in where their food comes from. So we ended up, I think, we did do a program through Caledonia, Illinois, where it basically takes beginner farmers and walks them through business plans. And so we were able to sort of glean from that the pitfalls that many small farmers fall into. And one of the main things was trying to do it all. So we really tried to partner with other firms so that we can stay true to what we do best and then let other people do what they do best. And so we ended up partnering with a neighbor of ours that has been in the meat business, understands what it takes to raise cattle, and so we've been able to expand into that, which has been really exciting for us. But all in all, we really want to stay true to quality. We care greatly about being organic and what we're putting on the plants, then turn into food that go into people's bodies. So it takes 3 years to become certified organic, so we're in year 2 of that 3-year process, but you follow practices from the get-go, so we never spray any type of pesticides. We hand pick bugs off of potato plants and squash them or put them in soapy buckets. So it can be very labor intensive, but in the end we feel like the together. So that's something that we have been thinking through and will continue to think through as we grow. And then one of the sort of unexpected aspects is we had the first year and we had a big 150-person dinner to sort of celebrate, hey, we have a farm, come see it, which was very exciting, as you can see here. And then this last year, what we ended up doing was for those people who signed up to be members of ours, we hosted basically an on-site dinner, brought in chefs that we were friends with from Chicago. They used all of our food to prepare basically a 4-course meal, and that ended up going phenomenally. As you can see, the food was delicious.
I think the only ingredients they didn't use were like flour.
Yeah,
Like a couple
sugar,
basic-
yeah, like the staples, basically. So it was incredible to see not only what our members are cooking week to week, but also, you know, when you have someone with culinary experience that can come in and turn dishes into masterpieces. So that was very exciting and has sort of opened a new avenue for us, where then after we had the first dinner, we had 3 this past summer, where people were asking then, how do I come and have a dinner? And we were like, well, it's only for the members this year, so we started looking this next year into expanding and hosting additional dinners on site. And what we love about that is that in the end, I care a lot about food. We care a lot about food, but what we really care about is community. So it's been cool to see that aspect sort of open up and how we can basically be building community around our farm versus just, you know, selling a box of vegetables to people week over week. So
Yeah, I think that's the thing for myself, and I think Megan too, that's been the most special, is to see families come out we're from Chicago, to come out from whether it's the city or the suburbs, and for the dinners we have 50 people and no one's on their cell phones. And you see kids running free, running crazy, and to me, it's affirmation that this is how it's meant to be. Like, we strip away everything. And at the end of the day, we're able to tell a story, our personal lives, our everyday lives on the farm, and then people are able to come out and experience it. So it makes it nice because I don't have to pitch anything. Here it is. And then just come out, come see what it's like. And it's funny, you get a text every day like, we were putting in a new wood burning stove in our shop and I did something wrong. And I was getting all these text messages from people being like, this is hilarious, it's so funny. And that's good for me that we're taking people along on the journey. And at the end of the day, so many people don't know where their food comes from. So for us to be able to tell that story of like, hey, it's not just going to the grocery store. Like this squash plant, it takes a lot of work. It's really hard, and then being able to talk about it, it's been really gratifying and really, really fun. So please feel free to follow us. We don't do much on Facebook, but we're pretty heavy on Instagram. So give us a follow along our story. If anything, get some good photos once in a while. So thank you.
Before Walker comes up here, I just want to echo the Instagram. Field and Farm has one of the most entertaining Instagram channels that I think I've found in a while. Not only do they have 2 adorable children and lots of cute animals, but it is entertaining to watch you learn some of this stuff. And I know that several of us are kind of living vicariously through you guys. I think that it's really cool.
Thank you.
Yes. So definitely give them a follow. And with that, I'll bring Walker up here. He's our last presentation for the evening. After he's finished, if you guys have any questions for any of the presenters, I can walk around with the mic, or if you guys just want to eat some more food, drink some more wine, and network a little bit more, that's totally fine too. So without any further ado, I'll hand it over to Walker.
Thank you. All right, one more, let's do this. All right, my name is Walker. I am the CEO of this company. Excuse me? Oh, I did, my bad. There we are. Maybe. All right, perfect. All right, so my name is Walker Lillard. I am the CEO of a new startup company here in Beloit called Toctor. Toctor is a smart home medical assistant, which actually helps you with finding and scheduling doctor's appointments throughout your local area. So basically, you can go onto your Amazon Alexa device or your Google Home devices and say, hey, I need a chiropractor appointment for Wednesday at this time with this person, and it'll actually schedule that appointment directly onto your provider's EHR system. We got this idea back when we were going through the G Alpha and G Beta programs with Phil back there in the corner. I was actually pitching an idea to have a food delivery service through Alexa, and it went terribly. Because there's already systems out there like Grubhub and Eat Street that are doing something similar, but we were just trying to get on the market because we saw the potential for the smart home technology. In the past 3 years, there's been a 310% increase in the sales of just Alexa devices, a 400% increase in sales for Google Home devices, and I think it was a 175% increase in the Apple HomePod, basically the Apple speaker devices as well. And so there's a huge growth there. We're just trying to kind of hop on that market and make sure that people see the potential of that new technology coming through the market. So this is actually my second startup company. My first one took place back in 2015. I began this nonprofit organization called the Makers Project. Basically what we did is that we would schedule shows with local musicians and artists around the area. Actually, we started here in Beloit and we moved on all throughout Rock County and Dane County. And we would schedule these shows so people can go and perform, and the bands would go make money, and we would get a 20% cut so we could donate that to provide music lessons for underprivileged children in the area. That program grew actually pretty rapidly. One of our last events was actually at the Irontek building right before it turned into Irontek. And we actually got an offer from VH1. So they bought out the program, and they're actually still currently doing that program out in, I think it's Los Angeles at the moment. So that kind of gave me a feel for getting into the startup industry, because I figured out hey, I can go out there and actually help people and be in my community and really start moving things forward. And so I found Erin on the Geronimo Hospital, or sorry, not Geronimo, the HCP website, the email. And I said, hey, how can I get involved with Irontek? And she gave me the information for a membership, and she's been helping me along with getting involved with all these other programs, so thank you very much. So now it's been about 1.5 years, and I now have a team of 3 working all the time to help get this product out into the world. We're finishing up development here, hopefully within the next 1.5 to 2 months. We'd like to have this out by January. We actually just closed a deal with the Wisconsin Medical Society as well, to help sell to some of their members. They have about 10,000 members. They think that realistically we could sell to about 3,000 of those members within the next year. So that means we have a really high growth metric potential for us. So fingers crossed on that. Other than that, we're just excited that we're involved with this whole Beloit startup ecosystem. It's been such a pleasure. I'm actually from Beloit, so seeing this place grow and evolve from what it used to be is just a real delight. You can't see anything else like this in Wisconsin, and it's fantastic to be a part of this. So I don't really have too much to add. One of my co-founders is back here as well, Terry. You want to wave to the crowd, Terry? Thank you. Terry was actually one of Phil's associates from G-Beta from last year, and he's been one of our best co-founders on the team so far, just with getting everything organized and structured. And thank you again, Phil, for getting everything set up for us as well. So if you guys have any questions about how we're growing and how we plan on taking this to the next step, I'd love to meet with you afterwards and maybe a business card. Just feel free to come over and shake hands. So thank you very much.
Alrighty, thank you. Alright. Oops. Same thing. That wraps up the presentations for tonight. Does anybody have any follow-on questions for any of our entrepreneurs tonight? We had some great presentations. Nobody? You guys want to drink more wine? All right. Before I let you all out of class, could we have a round of applause really quickly for everybody who presented tonight? And as you can see, when we selected these companies, we're really wanting to showcase a variety of businesses that were growing in Beloit. And so we've got everything from Talk Tour, so we're in app development, to organic farming. Graham being a recent high school grad and deciding to take the non-college route, I guess. Nonprofit Thrive, Sure Consulting, Fresh Horizons. Nonprofit Thrive, Fresh Horizons, and Talk Tour actually have all gone through the G-Beta program, which I mentioned just for a second earlier, but it's the on-site accelerator program, which is part of the larger gold-ranked accelerator generator out of Madison, Milwaukee. We run the G-Beta program twice every year, once in the spring, once in the fall, and I will have Phil wave at you. now in the back. So Phil is the director of G-Beta Beloit, so he runs all of that programming for us here. It's a really great program. There's 5 companies that get accepted into each cohort. We get about 20 to 30 applications probably each round, and they select 5. We call it a concierge startup accelerator because you're really getting a lot of one-on-one attention. So half of the companies that presented tonight have gone through the G-Beta program. If any of you have questions about that accelerator program and want to talk to Phil, I'm sure he would be happy to share some of that information with you. With that, I will let you guys mingle for a little bit longer. We have the room here until 8:30 tonight, so if you guys are having valuable conversations, feel free to stay and hang out for a while. And thanks again for being here tonight. I appreciate it.